Oh, hey, how is everybody today? Welcome back to Collector Stuff. Just reading through my edition of Athlon Sports Preview for the SEC college football season. Got my special edition ordered with the Tennessee Vols featured. Marquez North, wide receiver. Live here in Tennessee, so I'm a big Vols fan. Football season has started, and finding out all about the SEC teams and Southeastern Conference. Also got my NFL Athlon Sports Preview magazine. Peyton Manning on the front, Denver Broncos, also a former Tennessee Vol. So excited. Football's here, ready to get it underway. Speaking of football, let's talk sports memorabilia, sports cards, and some figures that I just picked up this week. I'm excited to get, thrilled to get actually, and wanted to share the joy with my viewers out there, that you guys would enjoy this stuff. Got a couple of McFarlane figures that I wanted to share with you. You guys know the Todd McFarlane line of action figures, and they do fantasy figures and war and history and monsters, and but they also do sports figures of all the major sports, and I'm excited to pick these figures up because I've been wanting both of these for a long time. And both of these have typically, if you can find them on Amazon, they've run for 50 to 60 bucks a piece. And I actually found both of these for sale the other day. Both of them were under 30 bucks a piece. So I figured now is the time to move and go for it. So the first one that I got is the greatest left-handed pitcher, in my opinion, ever, Mr. Steve Carlton. I'm a lifelong Philadelphia Phillies fan, as you guys have probably figured that out, since 1975. So in those late 70s, early 80s teams, I grew up loving those Phillies with Mike Schmidt and Steve Carlton and Greg Luzinski and Larry Boa, and then later on Pete Rose added to it, Tug McGraw, and so on and so forth. And I have wanted this Steve Carlton figure for quite a while. Here is there's the side packaging, the back, you can see, and I've been after this for several years, had my eye on it, and just never wanted to spend that kind of money. And when it went down under 30 bucks, I had to act and move quickly. So I'm excited to get Steve Carlton, adding him to my sports figures collection. And here's another one that I've had my eyes on for quite some time, but it actually is not what I wanted, but I'm hanging on to it anyway. I'll explain. Ever since I was a young boy, I live about hour and a half, hour 45 from Atlanta, north of Atlanta, just over the state line in Tennessee. And I've been a big NBA fan, basketball fan, since I was a small kid. Grew up going in the early 70s to see the Atlanta Hawks. 4 or 5 times a year we'd drive down, go to games. So I grew up with watching the Pistol Pete Maravich era Atlanta Hawks. That's the Hawks of my childhood. And what I saw advertised was the McFarlane Maravich figure with his Atlanta Hawks jersey variant, which is very not easy to find, or not as common as what I got, which is Maravich, Pete Maravich, in his New Orleans Jazz uniform. Now what happened is the seller advertised with a picture and with wordage that it was the Atlanta Hawks variant. And it was 25 bucks, and this thing usually goes for about 60 on Amazon when you can find the 1 or 2 sellers who have one, and it goes for sometimes more than that on eBay. So I contacted the seller. They were very nice. They apologized for the error. They did not own an Atlanta Hawks jersey variant of the Maravich figure, and offered a full and complete refund if I wanted to return this. So they were very nice and they responded very quickly. Since I do not own any Pete Maravich figures whatsoever and have wanted the Hawks figure at least for a long time, I'm going to hang on to this Maravich Jazz figure. Yeah, because I'll hunt for the Hawks one somewhere else, but I'm going to hang on to that one as well. So was excited to at least have Pete Maravich in my collection. My wife is texting me, telling me she is on her way home from work today. So got a few cards that I wanted to share with you, and I was real excited to find these from an online dealer. Yeah, back in 73-74 Topps basketball set not only included the player cards and etc., but they also had sticker cards. And man, I used to have all of those, and as like so many collectors, my mother gave away or threw out, you know, all kinds of sports cards and comic books and things, and God love her, I still love her to death. But you know, who knew back then? Who had the foresight to realize that we'd be collecting these things today? So it was nice to be able to find these sticker cards, because I always enjoyed these. Each card came with a larger sticker with the team logo, and then a smaller sticker at the bottom that was in a banner or a flag that just had the team name on there. So as you can see, this is an Atlanta Hawks logo card with a Supersonics smaller sticker on the bottom. I can remember this was 1973-74 Topps. The Knicks and the Warriors. I was just so glad. I have so much fond memories of collecting these, and had these stickers all over notebooks and school books and things like that. Was just excited to find these again. Just a little bit of my my childhood there. There's the Lakers. For you youngins who have no idea who the Buffalo Braves were or are, the Buffalo Braves were an early 70s team. I believe 1970 or 71 they were an expansion team. Bob McAdoo, Randy Smith, Jim McMillan, they were some of the early stars of the Buffalo Braves. Bob Kaufman. And then in the late 70s, the Braves were sold and moved to San Diego, where they became the San Diego Clippers for a few years. And now they are known as the Los Angeles Clippers. So there's your NBA history. There's the Buffalo Braves logo. Houston Rockets, and there's the Braves smaller sticker right there. The Bulls and the Pistons stickers. I need to pick up a few more of these. I just they had a few others. Had the ABA teams as well, which I didn't follow the ABA that much back then. 76ers and the Hawks. And then last but not least, the Capital Bullets and the Knicks. Now again, for you youngsters who are wondering who in the heck are the Capital Bullets, back in the 60s and early 70s, there were the Baltimore Bullets, and before they were the Baltimore Bullets, I believe they were the Chicago Zephyrs or something like that, but they became the Baltimore Bullets. And in the 60s and early 70s, the Bullets were Earl Monroe, Wes Unseld, Gus Johnson, Jack Marin, those kind of guys. And then later on, Elvin Hayes, Phil Chenier joined. And then in 73-74, the Baltimore Bullets moved out of Baltimore just down the ways to Landover, Maryland, where they became, for one season and one season only, the Capital Bullets. After the 73-74 season, they then became the Washington Bullets, and were that for many, many, many years, until the PC police came along and said, we don't like the name Bullets as a team logo, and so you got to change it. And now you know the Capital Baltimore Washington Bullets as the Washington Wizards. There you go. So a little bit of NBA history, if you didn't know those teams. A few other card pickups just some old school stuff that I liked. I was able to find. Well, before I get to the old school stuff, I did pick up nice Phil Mickelson card. This is a fairly new Collectors Club Upper Deck. Oh man, it's hard to get that without a glare. And yeah, what happens if I turn this light off here? Does that help any at all with the glare? No, not really. Okay. Take my word for it. It's a nice Phil Mickelson card. Coastin Bromstar, if you are watching, you recently asked me if I collected golf cards. Here's an example of Phil Mickelson there. Here is a Wayne Gretzky that I picked up. This is 82 Topps Gretzky when he played for the Edmonton Oilers. Would love to find a nice collection of cards with the LA Kings. Here's some old NFL cards that I picked up. These are 78 Topps Bob Greasy. Again, 78 Topps Joe Theismann. And if you've never seen the videotape of the basically career-ending injury where Joe Theismann broke his leg, you need to look that up sometime. That's a pretty gruesome thing to watch. Another 78 Topps of Roger Staubach of the Cowboys. Again, these were the players of my childhood. Bob Greasy, Roger Staubach. How about this one? O.J. Simpson. And little Walter Payton. How's that for a couple of good running backs? We won't talk about the evil O.J. or the bad side of O.J. for right now. Just leave him as a sports figure and hero right now. So I was glad to pick those up and got those all relatively dirt cheap. And also picked up, let's see, here was a nice Upper Deck Jerry Rice, Joe Montana. Joe Montana, probably my favorite football player of all time. Top 5 football players: Montana, Joe Namath, Peyton Manning, Earl Campbell, Reggie White. Those are the guys that I really like, so I try to collect as many of those players' cards as I can. Nice Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. And just picked this one up because he's in the news so much now. Richard Sherman. Boy, it's hard to see because of that glare in it. I apologize for that. If I could find an angle, that's a little better. It was just a nice looking card. I'm not necessarily a Richard Sherman fan, but it was a nice looking card that I picked up. And then I just love these. This is the 93 Upper Deck NFL. I just picked up a handful of these from a dealer online. He didn't have too many of them, and I grabbed the players that I liked. John Elway. Isn't that just a beautiful card? I just love the layout, the design, the colors, everything about these cards. I wish I could find the whole entire set of these. Dan Marino, Brett Favre, of course here's Montana with the Chiefs, Jerry Rice, and Reggie White. Reggie is from my hometown here in Tennessee, and went to high school here, grew up here. Got to meet him a couple of times. One time, spent a little bit more time talking to him than others, and shook his hand. And man, that guy had the biggest hands I've ever met in my life. They were about 3 times the size of mine. I mean, my hand just disappeared inside of his hand. And but he was a very nice guy, a wonderful guy. Glad I got to meet him. God rest his soul. Wish he was still here with us. He was an awesome player and an even better human being, I think. Such a good guy. All right, well, those are some sports pickups. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up to like it. If you haven't subscribed already to the channel, please be sure and do so. Leave your comments. Love to hear from you. Yeah, have fun with your collecting. And until next time, bye.